There is a fundamental misunderstanding of what morality is, even with the functioning definition of morality being a, a standard by which to judge good and evil. What constitutes good and evil gets lost in cultural examples of how morality seems to be fluid. However, I have yet to find a society or culture that actively promotes murder for the sake of murder itself. The Mayans, Aztecs, and any other culture that has practiced human sacrifice, including passing children through the fire, have always done so to appease their gods, even if they're gods themselves. The Nazis had to use a false justification of racial superiority, which came out of the false accusation that the German-born Jews were oppressing the Germans. Crime culture uses desperate circumstances to escape poverty, political violence, specifically when the social contract is not broken, uses a false moral justification. Now, these are all examples that acknowledge the binary of morality, which needs justification for why the application of the binary doesn't apply. Well, what is apparently up for debate is merely how it's applied and interpreted through judicial and ceremonial laws, when you need to justify your actions because in other circumstances you know that they wouldn't be justified, and thus even with your justification you're acting immorally. Now, I did make a caveat for when the social contract has been breached. The social contract is an unspoken agreement to uphold natural rights one has as a human being. When those natural rights are violated, to end the threat, whether through de-escalation or through more violent means, is honorable in action. So then, how do we judge morality? Should it be by biology alone? How is that any different than phrenology? How does that tell us anything about the content of one's character? Should it be due to whether they belong to a marginalized group? So, does that automatically say that by being marginalized, they are morally superior? Should it be on whether or not it causes offense? How does that show love? How does that promote the potential for improvement? Or does it promote avoidance? There are no other options. Should it be based on desire? What if it's a desire for ideas that by default and in wicked and evil outcomes. Should it be the previously mentioned social contract? Then if that's the case, doesn't that social contract imply that morality is transcendent?